So, I've spent the last few days playing the new Sword Art Online game, because apparently I'm a masochist, and the release calendar's gone dead. But I was kind of surprised to find that, actually, this is pretty fun. Like, what? Sword Art Online games are notoriously bad. How is this good? So, yeah, I figured I'd just sort of do a quick off-the-cuff overview kind of thing today. So let's get into it. So this is the first Sword Art Online game based on Gun Gale Online, that arc from the anime, as far as I'm aware. So like from a gameplay perspective, there's more of a focus on like shooting and stuff, and like it's actually surprisingly responsive. I was kind of expecting the shooting to be pretty naff, really, because it's a Sword Art Online game. But no, it's actually surprisingly good. So you've got like the little assist mode square when you're not like aimed in, and as long as your enemies are in the square, you'll get this little bullet circle, and your bullets will always hit within that circle, which means you can run and gun without fear of missing too many shots. And then if you need to, you can just hold L2 or whatever, like, is it LT on the Xbox One? The left trigger, whatever, the equivalent. And it will zoom in, and your bullet circle will get way more accurate. And that lets you hit like the critical spots on an enemy, like their head or their back or whatever the weak spot is. So yeah, it's actually surprisingly responsive, and you can, if you really feel like you need to, use a sword, which is fine. I do, because I run out of ammo too quickly, but they're there. But it's mostly focused on your guns, your various weapon types, like pistols, assault rifles, snipers, rocket launchers, your usual stuff, and then you've got weight and your regular sort of RPG systems and things, so like you can become over encumbered if you're carrying too much. Defeating enemies levels you up, and you can then use the points you gain from doing that to increase your stats and gain new skills. Very sort of by the numbers RPG stuff. And then also when you're in combat, you can do dodge rolls and dashes, and you can use the skills you've attained from leveling up, which let you do different things like sliding or launching yourself through the air. And just sort of and in general, it's just actually quite fun to play, which I wasn't quite ready for, I guess. I was kind of expecting it to be sort of like, oh, this is fun for like half an hour or something like the other games, and then not finish it because it's actually kind of rubbish. But yeah, no, I definitely had a lot of fun with this one. It feels quite epic to be like dodge rolling out the way of some giant robot that's trying to smash you, and then like shooting it in the back from a crouched position, and just kind of generally really fun. The story's kind of your standard game within a game story, so it's like, ooh, we're playing an MMO and there's a new update, better go and level ourselves up and grind or whatever so that we can access the new bit of the game that we're not powerful enough to access yet. And oh look, they've added some new features like an AI partner that's really smart, and you were lucky enough as the new player to get her, or him, depending on what you choose, because there's also a character creation system, because you don't play as Kirito, you play as whoever the fuck you want to play as, because why not? That's just how this works. And then you also get to create a custom AI partner as well. And yeah, it's a surprisingly deep customization system. You can your characters will never like look bad like you have in a lot of character creations. Like they'll look good in the character creation screen, and then you'll play the game and you're like, oh, what have I done? That's hideous. You won't get any of that here. It's actually like it looks pretty good, despite the fact that you could make your person the lankiest human being ever if you want. So yeah, that's a thing. But again, surprisingly fun. To be fair, the game is developed by Dimps, who, if you don't know, developed the 2 Dragon Ball Xenoverse games, which were actually pretty good. They were probably the first, I would say, the first 2 good Dragon Ball games since the Budokai Tenkaichi games. But that's just me. You might have different opinions, and that's fine. They also did the like DS ports of a bunch of Sonic games. So they did like the 2 Sonic Rush games. I'm pretty sure they did Sonic Colors on DS. So they were basically like consistently making actually pretty good Sonic games for a while, while Sonic Team were doing Sonic 06, and the less said about that, the better. So yeah, Dimps have a pretty good pedigree, so that's kind of one of the reasons I bought the game, was like, oh, Dimps are making it, maybe it'll be alright. And then, but like, I didn't want to hold out too much hope, because it's still a Sword Art Online game, don't have the best track record. But, no, it actually is, it's pretty good, it's surprisingly good. It also somehow manages to feel like a single-player MMO, like a lot of these game-within-a-game games. That was a weird sentence. Game-within-a-game games do. It you've got sort of a hub world and stuff where you can buy items and interact with NPCs who are kind of other players, but they're not really because it's single-player. And then you just kind of venture out into semi-open, like it's kind of split into a bunch of areas, but they're like big open areas that you can kind of explore however you like, and there are like, the enemies are different levels in different areas, and there are unique enemies, like the one I'm fighting here, on the left there, the Heartless Puppet, who, they tend to be like a little bit higher level, it will kind of require more coordination with you and your team to beat, and yeah, it's surprisingly fun to get into like, you kind of just be running across the world and then, ooh, a unique enemy. And there are normally like quests to beat them as well, so not only do you get the XP for beating them and whatever items they drop, you get the quest rewards as well, so there's like an incentive to go and explore, which is quite good, surprisingly fun. I must have said surprisingly fun about 8,000 times by this point. What else we got? The AI is surprisingly good. You kind of expect sort of anime tie-in games especially, but tie-in games in general, the AI to just be there, I guess. But because like having a team so integral to the gameplay, the AI actually does a really good job of holding its own. Your custom AI partner, you can set their like priorities and things, so if you go down you can set it so that they prioritize picking you up again. For the most part, the AI, yeah, really does hold its own. It does a good job of actually hitting enemies and keeping themselves and you well healed if you want to play an attack role rather than a support role, because obviously there's so many different weapon types and skills and things. You can have whatever build you want, really. You could be a tank if you want, not literally, but like in the class role of a tank kind of sense. In terms of difficulty, I wouldn't say it's that difficult. It's worth keeping yourself like well leveled so that you can keep like basically be able to do damage to enemies, because otherwise it's going to take you ages. But for the most part, you won't really have any trouble. If you get downed, one of your AI partners can come and pick you up. And the only way you can kind of get a game over, in a very loose sense of the word, is for all of your team to go down, and then you get returned to the home base. But it doesn't really, it just kind of cuts short whatever you were doing. So if you were just out exploring and you get killed, you get sent back, and it's not really any different from just manually fast traveling back to the hub world. So there's no real punishment for dying, I guess, other than if you were halfway through a dungeon and you haven't reached one of the fast travel points yet, you've got to go back through the dungeon. But if you reach the end of the dungeon, you should have a mid travel point, and one at the end. So if you die against the boss, you can just go straight back to the boss. You don't have to worry about fighting everything all over again. Which is, you know, nice quality of life feature there. Yeah, I guess I don't really have a huge amount else to say. It's just kind of like, here's the new Sword Art Online game. It's surprisingly fun. I kind of want to tell you guys about it because I feel like as a Sword Art Online game, everyone hates Sword Art Online for good reason, because the games are garbage and the anime was good for half a season. So a lot of people might overlook it, but I really think that actually if this is your sort of thing, or you've ever had any interest in Sword Art Online, or you like games like Borderlands or The Division, because the shooting's similar to that, I guess, in that just headshotting someone won't instantly kill them, it's more of an RPG system, you might actually enjoy this. It's actually surprisingly good. And I've had a lot of fun with it the last few days. So, yeah. One other quick thing I'll mention is that there is actually multiplayer. There's like a PvP mode where you kind of compete with other players to do the most damage to a boss enemy, which, as you can see here, I am losing quite badly. And there's also a co-op focused mode, which is essentially the same thing. You just, there's no friendly fire and you're not competing, you're just trying to take down an enemy. And they're fine, I guess. Don't purchase the game solely on the multiplayer, because it's fine, it's just not great. Anyway, thanks for watching this weird, rambly video. I've not really tried anything like this before, so this is a bit of a shot in the dark. If it's worked and you've enjoyed it, please let me know. If it hasn't, also let me know, and I won't do it again, because this has felt very strange to just spout random nonsense about a game completely unscripted. But yeah, let me know what you think, and thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time, hopefully. We'll see, I guess, what you think of it. Yeah, okay, bye.